This is the incredible story of how the US stumbled on an amazing system they could use to literally control the world. Everything I'm going to tell you is from US records and is not disputed. In early 1948, the US government noticed that a democratic election was scheduled in Italy for April the 18th. Citizens were expected to elect the Popular Democratic Front, a people-oriented party with roots in socialism. Now, Washington was worried. This meant that Italy was thus likely to lean to the east rather than the west. For Washington, this was a really important issue. Luckily for them, Congress had the previous year passed a law allowing government agencies to use taxpayers' money to interfere covertly in the independent democratic processes of other countries. Planning began immediately. In a masterstroke, the CIA decided to launch a clandestine operation using the labels freedom and democracy to subvert the free democratic process in Italy. Nice little joke there. The planners were incredibly smart. The four-part system they developed would become a model for US secret interference in the politics of other countries for the next 70 years. And it would allow them control of the world, literally. The first tool was fear-mongering. They used Western journalists to tell everyone that what appeared to be a democratic election was something very different. Italy was in danger and even on the brink of catastrophe, to use the words of Time magazine. Defeat in the April elections would be a disaster for Western Europe, the New York Times said. The second tool was labelling. The US launched a secret propaganda campaign attacking the politicians they wanted defeated by labelling them pro-communism or pro-Kremlin. To do this, the US used independent media, plus the media it directly controlled, like the Voice of America. From March the 24th that year, VOA started pumping out daily propaganda to Italians. The whole world was given the same message.
Italy stands at the crossroads of history as her millions of qualified voters stream to the polls to determine whether she shall remain a free republic or sink silently behind the Iron Curtain in the gray zone where slave nations are governed by Moscow's will.
The third tool was money. The US provided heavy funding to US-friendly groups in that country. We had bags of money that we delivered to selected politicians, CIA operative F. Mark Wyatt later admitted. Now, journalists did not report the US funding, either because they didn't know about it or they chose not to. The fourth tool was projection. The CIA got journalists to print fake news that the Soviet Union was providing heavy funding to the Popular Democratic Front. Projection is when you take a series of immoral and or illegal actions and then get the media to assign those offences to the other side. When April 18th, the day of the election, came round, the Popular Democratic Front was defeated and a pro-US government installed.
But the warmest demonstration goes to Premier de Gasperi as the official returns make known the success of his Christian Democratic Party. With a coalition majority assured against the communists, Italy has cast her vote for freedom.
The system was a huge success from Washington's point of view. What the world saw was an apparently democratic election. But it was really the opposite. Italy lost its freedom. But the world was told Italy stays free. Now, 2 weeks later in Washington, D.C., George Kennan wrote a top-secret memo about the successful launch of a system of media-based hybrid control of humanity around the planet. He called it the inauguration of organized political warfare. This document specifically mentioned the spreading of positive or white propaganda about the West and the employment of black psychological warfare. Black refers to US actions that were top secret because they were illegal and or immoral. It also said the US should secretly provide encouragement of underground resistance in hostile states. Now, Kennan knew full well that underground resistance was almost always violent. Did he care? That was the official launch of a system we now call hybrid warfare or colour revolution, used everywhere from Europe to Asia, from Bolivia to Hong Kong. Meanwhile, the CIA would later boast that it had used the system to secretly control the outcome of the free democratic elections in Italy for 24 years. The hybrid warfare system is now used around the world to conduct regime change operations and plant US-friendly leaders globally. The most recent example is the Philippines. The West still uses the word freedom to attack the East, just as they did 70 years ago.
The elected officials will determine Italy's government slave or free. But as 29 million Italians face their grave responsibility, returns indicate a sweeping victory for the forces of freedom.
Know the truth, share the truth. Peace.